Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris and this is my Lord of the Rings hobby, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made some grass boards, some of the terrain boards for the Wargaming game. This is for Middle Earth for me. I'm going to go through the step by step showing you what I've done, but I'm not going to give it more as a tutorial. It's more of a lessons learned video this, and I'll show you the mistakes as I go. Okay guys, so like all good videos and all the ones what do start, the XPS foam is glued on with PVA glue. I use that fully and then I place the boards. This is using XPS foam. I'm using that onto the boards. Now I used different techniques regarding how I wanted it to look and so forth. So I was building up small little hills on this one just to mess around and get a feel of, like I said, different boards. I personally wouldn't do this again with the how small this foam is, because I'm only using 6mm. I'd rather have used a bigger one and cut through with a saw, like a knife or something, which probably would have been a lot better for the hill. Okay, so what we're doing here is just sticking on the last one, but I just want to give you a quick notice that we did put a load of weight on these boards as we were doing it, letting one dry, putting weight on, make sure it's all nice and compact, and then doing the exact same for the other boards. So just keep that in mind, making sure that once we've done one section, we glue it and go from there. After I was happy with how the board was looking, I set out some rocks for a few details and also cut away the edges of certain board pieces what I've glued on top to make the hill, just to slant them down a bit. And then what I'm going to do after that is apply some casting / plaster basically. I'm not 100% certain on the mix, I am learning this as I go, so I think I used 50-50 mix. And then I realised it was too much because it was fine casting. I don't know if that makes a difference, but this was all me learning how to do it. So as you can see, I'm literally just working this right the way across, wetting it down using my thumb. I messed up on this quite a lot. I did such a big batch and was not moving quick enough. This thing dried within 2-3 minutes, so I started to really solid up, so it meant that a lot of this actually ended up getting wasted. I think half of it, if not more, got in the bin. Future reference, I know to work small areas and go from small to big. Well, just work small areas and then use a wet fingers like I do. Just wet it down and use your fingers and then just rub it over and smooth it out. Again, this was a test. I wanted to see how I could do stuff and make it look better. The other thing I would do, like I said, would use a bigger board. So maybe a 1 centimeter, even maybe 30mm, to make the hill look better and more undulating. But, you know, we're learning at the end of the day. So I wasn't that happy with it. When it turns out it isn't great, depending what angle you see it at, you can clearly see it looks basically like when you see old ruins in a grass formation. You can actually get like the blueprint of how the building looked. But you know, easy lessons learned from this one. If you're not laughing, you're learning. So yeah, I did this step and made sure it went all the way around. As you can see, even now as I'm talking, I'm spending far too long doing it. In about 10 seconds I think it gets solid and I just start splattering everywhere. So there's one thing I forgot to show was me putting down basing materials. I'm just using like coarse sand here, and I'm doing this all around the rocks I put down. That's including the chip bark stones I found upstairs. I still had some of those. So what I've done with this is PVA glue / super glue on some of them, because some of them fell off. And then all I did was PVA glue watered down with isopropyl alcohol, isopropylic, something like that. IPS I think people call it, alcohol all the way around, and I added multiple layers. Some bits were still loose, so I shake them off, but that's easy enough. Now on to the next step. What I was doing, I was just applying basic brown with a bit of a burnt umber it is, with a bit of black because it looked a bit too light for me, but when it dries off it looks really nice. It looks like a bit of mud. Again, I'm not too fussed about how the colour is done, mainly because we're going to cover this with static grass, which is a very slow / stressful process when you are learning how to do this. So I'll try and give you as much information as I'm doing it. So what I did now is just went around all the static grass, all the stones and brickwork. I basically just put the rock colour in, so I'm just using a really dark grey here, and then I'll build up on that. I don't use any washes or anything. I know this isn't the greatest angle, so I do apologise, but we just go along and just fill in the small painting, and that's all we're doing here, is just painting as much as we can, getting it all covered. Any loose stones I do find just get chucked out the way. I might paint them, but they just roll off. Like I said, because I've used the method now, which is watered down PVA glue with isopropyl alcohol. I think I'm saying that right. Most of them, if not 90% of these, are stuck solid. So just remember, take your time. I do use 3 or 4 coats of it, so most of the stuff is there. I would say I'll leave it for about 3 or 4 hours each stage, if not longer, and then overnight anyway. Once I was happy with everything dry, I put down quite a smooth layer of PVA glue, quite heavy but just not blobbing in any area, and covered the whole board where I needed to do. As you can see, I've done little bits already. You can do it as a one full one, I found, but it's entirely up to you. There's 2 different glues people say to you, or 3 different types. You can use normal PVA glue by itself, watered down PVA glue, or a thing called basing glue, which a lot of the big companies who do static grass sell, and they apply it all over the board and do small little bits. I just use PVA glue because that's what I had, and as now you can see I am putting on. Now as you can see here, this is wrong. I am far too far away from it. The electrical pulse thing, what I got told, you don't actually have to make a connection, but I am like 10 foot off the ground, so a lot of this won't stick up. It's 2mm anyway, so you won't see the difference, but that was a learning curve what I had. So getting down, I also noticed in PVA glue and the watered down PVA glue, if you do get it quite close, the water, because it's still gluing and learning how to glue, because it's not set yet, should I say, you can actually lift up a lot more of the grass even when it's been fallen over if it lands a bit sideways. So that was another thing I had to learn. Once I was happy with how it looked and it dried, then I applied, so this is the spray. I went and bought adhesive spray for this. This was a mistake. This one, for some reason, just did not dry how I wanted it to. The glue itself now is still actually really sticky. I've seen people say use adhesive spray. I messed up. There is a layering spray you can get, but I personally used PVA glue in the end. Just watered down PVA glue, sprayed that across, and it was fine. This is me applying the 4mm, so it's probably not the best site, and this was the 4mm Meadow range. So I wasn't that happy. This is the bit what I really learned from doing wrong. Actually, also you can see I've actually got the technique slightly better now, where I'm actually focused more down. I actually do too much of this in one area, so it doesn't look as spread out as it should do. So once we've applied the 4mm over the 2mm basing, then what we're going to do is use 6mm to go over that, and that should tie everything in. Like I said, because of the aerosol I've used, the adhesive spray did not go well at all. So if you do have any brands or things to look at, please leave them in the comments, because the whole point of this video is to teach us what we did wrong and what we can do better in the future. So this is me using the adhesive spray. I tried several little techniques on this, even on just cardboard, to see what I'm doing wrong. I just don't think it was right for the job. There is adhesive sprays you can get, so by all means, if you know any which are really good, please leave it in the comment, let other people know. World War Scenics have a spray. This is what a lot of their stuff is from, and they recommend using theirs. I didn't, because I weren't going to order it in time. I've had a week off to do these boards to have a mess around with. I think I failed too, if I'm honest with you. The other 2 look really nice and I'm happy with, but it's all learning curves. So first I'm going to let you guys have a look to see which ones you think are not the worst, because it's a learning curve, but which ones didn't go better. I don't know, I'm going to give you the clue. The middle 2. They're the ones what I use the technique of using a spray for, rather than just using watered down PVA glue. That's my personal opinion. And there we have it, guys, a nice little cinematic shot of Edra / whatever you want to use this board for. You can by all means use it for, I'm going to use it for the Battle of Pelennor Fields, the Westfold, and other stuff within Middle Earth. That's a good thing about these sort of boards, I can use it however I want. I do still want to build an Edris board, a bit more mountainous like how you see it in the films, but that was it. I also wanted to show you inside the buildings, which are done by Conquest Creations. I was really happy with the design. They look really nice, painted up really well too, if you don't mind me saying. Okay guys, so that's me done. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and here's some action shots from me using the board later that day. Bye for now.